Hey guys, MichaelBtheGameGenie here, and we've got some very exciting news coming to the Arcade1Up camp today. Outrun is now not only officially announced, but it's also available for sale immediately through Arcade1Up.com. You guys might remember a couple weeks ago my buddy P-Dub's Arcade Loft did a video after doing a little bit of accidental sleuthing, found out that Outrun was the next game to be released by Arcade1Up as it was in their database for their support. There was a portal there that quickly came down off their site. So we all kind of knew Outrun was the next cab. We knew that was going to be the driving cab that Arcade1Up was finally coming out with. It was only a matter of when, finding out specifically the games that were going to be on the cabinet, how it was going to look, and what the form factor was going to be like. So now we have all that information and a price point, so let's get started with this. So guys, let's talk about the included games. We found out a couple weeks ago it was going to be 4 games, and we now actually have a finalized games list. So we're looking at Outrun, Turbo Outrun, Outrunners, and Power Drift. Guys, let me know, what do you think of the games included? Are these the racing games you wanted to see from Arcade1Up in their first racing cab? Me personally, I think it's a great selection of games. Outrun is such an iconic arcade cabinet. It had to be the first one coming out from Arcade1Up. It just makes sense. The historic relevance, everything, the Sega partnership they just, came out with, everything makes sense. And for those wondering about the quality of the games, John Diamond on their Facebook post did confirm that Code Mystics actually worked on this cab, much like the other Sega cab, Golden Axe, so we know this is going to be top quality. Next, let's talk about the form factor, and this one is going to be the really interesting part for me. I was very concerned because I'm the kind of person, I like all my cabinets to be kind of the same. I don't want anything different, and this is in fact only available in a sit-down form factor. I knew this was probably going to be the case because there was always going to be the issue about the pedals and how would they do it. Obviously, if it was a stand-up cab, the pedals would somehow have to be built into the riser, and we get into a real complicated issue then of how we wire up the controls underneath the riser. Would this just be a separate piece where the wires would be floating out the cabinet and then we put it under the riser itself? Would it be built in somehow? Would there be components in the riser? It was a nightmare. The easiest thing for them to do was to make sure that the pedals were connected to the original arcade cabinet, and the sit-down cabinet lets them do this. The other thing about the sit-down cabinet is we've already seen this kind of form factor from the sit-down Star Wars that came out earlier this year. Except for the gear shift, I mean, that's the exact same thing. That yoke is very similar to a driving wheel, so we're right there. Another thing I want to talk about is the artwork, because Outrun looks absolutely beautiful. It's an exact replica, cut down to 3/4 scale, of the original stand-up cabinet. Not the sit-down. The sit-down actually had the car that you could get in, and it would be amazing if they did that, but realistically, there's no way Arcade1Up was going to pull this off. For a sit-down, this is the next best thing. Let's talk about the artwork because, again, it's an exact replica of the original cabinet. It looks beautiful. Everything on the sides is great. It has a light-up marquee. I love that the front panel is not down across like that. It's really, really slanted, so you get great access to the wheel. The gear shifts there. Everything's there. This thing looks amazing. Personally, I was one of those people that was kind of against this. Like I mentioned, I didn't want an arcade cabinet that wasn't the same height as my other arcade cabinets. I wanted it to fit into my arcade and look good in a row, and I thought the stand-up cab would be better suited to that, but here we are, and I'm extremely interested in this cab, and they've done it again somehow, so now I just need to find room. Last but not least, let's talk about pricing and availability, not just in the US, but in Canada for my Canadian brothers. So we have a price point. It's going to be $4.99 US, and that's going to be available right now only from Arcade1Up Direct. It's going to be available at retailers later. That's for the US. So you're looking at $4.99 plus shipping to your area in the US. It's also right now only available on their site to US and Canada. So for my Canadian brothers that are looking to order this directly from Arcade1Up.com, realize that you're going to be paying shipping. And we're looking at roughly about $100 US for shipping. So if you go back to my experience with Burger Time, looking at about $180 Canadian to get it shipped to you. But it's also applicable to taxes and duties. So if this comes through UPS, I'm not sure on FedEx, but if it comes through UPS, you're looking at about another $100 Canadian by the time you get through their brokerage fee and the actual tax that's on it, usually about 30 to 40 bucks. So by the time this is all done, you're looking at $4.99 US converted to Canada, $180 shipping, plus taxes and duties of another $100. So that's a big expense. But I do have really exciting news for you. I haven't confirmed it yet, but I've been talking to my counterparts here in Canada, and it looks like we are going to have early access to this, at least through pre-order, through Canadian retailers. You can expect something very soon, possibly from the Brick. Pre-order should be up maybe even later today to later this week. But I haven't confirmed yet whether or not those pre-orders mean we're going to have access to the cabs right away. I know that distribution to Canada right now is a bit of a nightmare coming from the US, so there's no guarantee we will have this before Christmas. But stay tuned, keep your eye on the Brick for the pre-orders to go up sometime in the very near future, and hopefully we'll have more information on availability and pricing in Canada. But I mean, you look at the pricing models that we've seen from other cabinets converted from US to Canada, I think you can get a pretty good idea. So if we're looking at $4.99, you're looking somewhere around $6.49 to $6.99 here in Canada. That's what we're going to be paying for Outrun. Anyways, guys, that's everything for today's video. Very excited for Outrun. I am almost out of room, but like I said, I'm going to have to find someplace for this to go. I can't believe that all it took was for them to put up the announcement, and I've completely flip-flopped, and now I want this cabinet extremely badly. I've got an addiction. There's definitely a problem. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. Let's get out there and race with each other.